Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the New Haven, watching the blue and green planet grow larger on the main screen. After 6 months in space, seeing a world that looked so much like Earth made his heart race. This was it. This was where his people would build their new home. "Captain, we're getting a signal from the planet's surface," said Communications Officer Linda Hayes. Her voice carried a note of concern. "It's not human." Jake nodded. They knew the Kepler 442 system wasn't empty. The surveys had shown signs of life down there. Silicon-based creatures called Zephyrians lived on the planet. But Earth needed this world. Resources back home were running out fast, and 47 human colonies across the stars weren't enough to support everyone. "Put it through," Jake said. The main screen changed to show a tall, crystal-like being. Its body looked like living glass, shifting colors from blue to purple as it spoke. The translation computer made its words clear. "Human ship, you are not welcome here. This world has been our home for 3,000 years. Please leave in peace." Jake looked at the alien for a long moment. He thought about his wife Kate back on Earth, waiting for news that they'd found a safe place to bring their children. He thought about the food shortages, the polluted air, the wars over water. Then he thought about this beautiful world below them. "I'm sorry," Jake said, "but we need this place too." 3 days later, Admiral Lisa Carter sat in her office on Luna Station, reading the reports from across human space. Every colony ship had received the same message. Every alien species they encountered said the same thing. "Go away. This is ours." But humans had nowhere else to go. The door to her office opened. A man in a dark suit walked in. He was tall and thin, with skin like polished silver and eyes that glowed softly. This was Ambassador Veltar from the Galactic Council. Lisa had never met an alien before, but she kept her face calm. "Admiral Carter," Veltar said. His voice sounded like wind chimes. "I bring a message from the 12 species of the Galactic Council." Lisa gestured to a chair, but the alien remained standing. His silver skin seemed to ripple as he spoke. "Humanity has been expanding into systems already claimed by peaceful species. This cannot continue. We offer you one final chance to negotiate. Choose worlds that are empty. Work with us to find places where humans can live without harming others." "And if we refuse?" Lisa asked. Veltar's glow dimmed slightly. "Then the galaxy will unite against you. 12 species, Admiral. Thousands of ships. Technology that your people cannot match. Please reconsider." Lisa studied the alien's face, trying to read emotions and features so different from human ones. "How long do we have to decide?" 72 hours. After Veltar left, Lisa called an emergency meeting. The most important people in human government gathered in the secure conference room. President Martha Collins sat at the head of the table, her gray hair pulled back tight. She looked tired. They all did. Dr. Nathan Brooks leaned forward in his chair. As Earth's top expert on alien life, his opinion carried weight. "We should listen to them. These species have been traveling between stars for thousands of years. They know things we don't. There has to be a way to share." General Paul Stevens slammed his hand on the table. "Share? Nathan, have you seen the numbers? Earth's population will hit 12 billion next year. Our colonies are barely keeping up with demand for resources. We don't have time to play nice with aliens who've had these worlds for centuries while doing nothing with them." "The Zephyrians have built cities," Nathan said. "They have culture, art, families. We can't just push them aside." "We can and we will," Paul replied. "Humans didn't survive ice ages and world wars by being polite. We survived by taking what we needed to live." President Collins raised her hand for silence. "What are our options if we fight?" Admiral Carter activated the holographic display. Red dots showed human colonies. Blue dots showed known alien settlements. The blue dots outnumbered the red ones by 10 to 1. "Honestly? We'd lose a direct war," Lisa said. "But humans don't fight direct wars. We adapt. We find ways to win when winning seems impossible." Martha looked around the table at each person. "Dr. Palmer, what do your studies tell us about these alien species, Doctor?" Susan Palmer was the newest member of their group. She studied alien history and culture. Something bothers me about their records. Every species in the Galactic Council has a similar story. They all faced disasters that nearly wiped them out. Asteroid impacts, disease, solar flares. Then suddenly they developed space travel and joined this peaceful alliance. So? Paul asked. So the odds of 12 different species all having the same pattern of near extinction followed by rapid technological development are astronomically small. It's like someone or something guided their history. The room fell quiet. Outside the windows of Luna Station, Earth hung in space like a blue marble. Beautiful, but dying from too many people and too little hope. Martha Collins had been president of Earth for 8 years. She'd led humanity through food riots, water wars, and the Great Migration to the colonies. Now she faced the biggest decision in human history. "We've never been good at following other people's rules," she said finally. When the British tried to control American colonists, they fought back. When Hitler tried to control Europe, the world fought back. When corporations tried to control governments, people fought back. It's what humans do. Nathan shook his head. "Martha, this isn't about politics or history. We're talking about survival against impossible odds." "Yes, we are," Martha replied. "And humans have faced impossible odds before. We've always found a way." She stood up and walked to the window, looking down at Earth. "Send a message to all human colonies. Tell them to prepare for whatever comes next. Send another message to this Galactic Council." "What should it say?" Lisa asked. Martha turned back to face the room. Her eyes were hard as steel. "Tell them that humans don't negotiate when our families are starving and our world is dying. Tell them we'll take the worlds we need, and if they want to stop us, they're welcome to try." Paul Stevens smiled. Nathan Brooks looked sick. Lisa Carter began planning for war. In 72 hours, the galaxy would learn what happened when humans refused to back down. Some lessons, Martha thought, had to be taught the hard way. The message traveled faster than light across the galaxy. In the underwater cities of Hydros Prime, the aquatic hydrons gathered in their great councils, speaking in clicks and whistles that translated to shock and disbelief. On the hive worlds of the Cerebrax, millions of minds connected as one to share the terrible news. The energy beings called luminals flickered with distress. In their crystal formations, scattered across 12 star systems, never, in recorded galactic history, had a species refused the Council's offer to negotiate. Commander Ryan Mitchell sat in his small office on Proxima Station, the farthest human outpost from Earth. His job was to monitor alien communications, something that had been boring for the past 3 years. Today was different. Today his equipment couldn't keep up with all the signals flying between alien worlds. The translations were rough, but the meaning was clear. Every alien species was talking about the same thing: the humans who said no. Ryan called his assistant, Lieutenant Kelly Price, into his office. She was young, maybe 25, with red hair and the kind of sharp mind that made her perfect for intelligence work. "Kelly, look at these intercepts," Ryan said, pointing to his screens. "What do you see?" Kelly studied the data for several minutes. Her face grew pale. "Sir, this isn't just diplomatic chatter. These are military communications. Fleet movements, weapon inventories, supply lines. They're not planning to negotiate with us. They're planning to wipe us out." "How many ships?" Ryan asked. Kelly worked at her console for another few minutes. When she looked up, her hands were shaking. "Over 10,000, sir. From 12 different species. Technologies we don't even understand." Ryan had fought in the Mars Rebellion 10 years ago. He'd seen humans at their worst and their best. But he'd never seen anything like this. "Get me a secure channel to Earth. Priority Alpha." While Ryan sent his warning to Earth, Dr. Susan Palmer worked late in her lab on Mars. The Red Planet had become humanity's center for research and development, far enough from Earth to be safe but close enough to share resources quickly. Susan specialized in alien archaeology and history. What she'd found in the Galactic Council's own records kept her awake at night. "Computer, display the extinction events for all Council species," she said. 12 holographic displays appeared around her. Each showed the history of a different alien race. The Hydrons had nearly died when a massive asteroid hit their ocean world. The rock-eating Gornax had faced a plague that turned their food into poison. The Cerebrax had almost been wiped out when their home star began producing deadly radiation, but Susan had run the mathematical models. She'd checked the astronomy data. She'd studied disease patterns and geological records. Computer, what are the odds that 12 different species would all face extinction-level events within 100 years of developing nuclear technology? Working. The probability is less than 1 in 10 billion. Susan sank into her chair. Someone or something had been watching these species, guiding them, maybe even threatening them into joining this peaceful alliance. Computer, show me human history for the same period. Earth's record appeared. Nuclear weapons in 1945, space travel in the 1960s, and then nothing. No asteroid impact. No plague, no solar disaster. We're different, Susan whispered. We didn't get the treatment the others did. On Kepler 442b, Captain Jake Morrison watched his colonists set up their first permanent structures. The landing zone was beautiful, with purple grass and silver trees under a golden sun. In the distance, the crystal spires of Zephyrian cities caught the light like diamonds. The aliens hadn't attacked. They'd simply retreated underground, sending messages that the humans ignored. Jake tried not to think about the families down there, afraid and angry about the strangers taking their world. His communication officer, Tony Garcia, ran up to him with a handheld device. Captain, you need to hear this. The device crackled to life with Ambassador Veltar's voice, speaking to someone else in rapid clicks and whistles. The translator worked slowly. The human response is unacceptable. Begin Phase 1 mobilization immediately. All Council fleets will converge on human space within 60 standard days. If they will not join us willingly, they will be reduced to a manageable population and watched closely forever. Jake felt cold, despite the warm alien sun. Tony, record everything. Send copies to every human colony and back to Earth. People need to know what's coming. Back on Earth, President Martha Collins stood before the United Earth Assembly. Representatives from every nation and colony filled the Great Hall. The room buzzed with nervous energy. Everyone knew about the alien ultimatum now. My fellow humans, Martha began, her voice carrying clearly through the chamber. We face a choice that will define our species for generations to come. We can bow to alien masters who demand we accept scraps and be grateful, or we can stand as humans have always stood when threatened. A representative from the European Federation stood up. Madam President, we're talking about 12 advanced civilizations with thousands of years of technological development. This isn't about pride. This is about survival. Martha nodded. You're right. It is about survival. But not just our physical survival. It's about surviving as free human beings who make our own choices. She activated the main display, showing images from colonies across human space. Families working in fields under alien suns. Children playing in settlements built with human hands. Scientists making discoveries that pushed the boundaries of knowledge. This is what we've built in less than 100 years of space travel. We've spread to 47 systems. We've created new technologies, new art, new ways of living. We did this as free people, making our own mistakes and celebrating our own victories. The Brazilian representative raised her hand. What if we can't win? Martha smiled, but it wasn't a happy expression. Then we'll lose as humans, free, defiant, and unbroken. But I don't think we'll lose. You know why? The room fell silent. Because humans don't fight fair. We don't follow the rules when the rules are designed to keep us down. We adapt, we improvise, we find ways to win that nobody expects. That's how a bunch of farmers beat the British Empire. That's how we survived 2 world wars, climate change, and the long night. She gestured to the screen showing alien fleet movements. They have superior technology. They outnumber us 100 to 1. They've done this before to other species who gave up without a real fight. Martha's voice grew stronger, but they've never fought humans. They don't know what we're capable of when our backs are against the wall. They're about to find out. The vote was unanimous. Every human colony, every settlement, every ship in space would stand together. The species that refused to negotiate was about to teach the galaxy a lesson about the cost of threatening human families. As the assembly dispersed, Martha received a private message from Dr. Palmer on Mars. The information about alien extinction events made everything clear. The Galactic Council wasn't just a peaceful alliance. It was a cage, and they were the prison guards. Now they wanted to put humans in that same cage. Martha looked out at the stars and smiled grimly. They were about to discover that some species couldn't be caged. The alien fleet dropped out of hyperspace at Wolf 359 like a nightmare made real. Captain Kelly Thompson watched from the bridge of her destroyer, the lightning as ships the size of cities appeared on her screens. There were hundreds of them, crystal vessels that looked like living art, metal spheres covered in spikes, ships that seemed to be made of pure energy, flickering between colors that human eyes had never seen before. "Holy shit," whispered her weapons officer, Lieutenant Ben Carson. Kelly almost smiled at that. Ben was 28 years old and had never seen combat before. None of her crew had. This was supposed to be a quiet patrol route between two minor human colonies. "Communications, send a message to all human ships in the system," Kelly ordered. "This is Captain Thompson aboard the Lightning. We are engaged with hostile alien forces. Recommend immediate tactical dispersal." Her communications officer, Amy Rodriguez, looked up from her station. "Captain, we're getting signals from the alien fleet. They're demanding our surrender. Tell them—" Kelly paused, thinking about her daughter back on Earth. Then she thought about what would happen to that little girl if these aliens won. "Tell them humans don't surrender. Tell them if they want to fight, we'll give them one they'll remember." The alien response came in the form of energy beams that lit up space like lightning. But the beams passed through empty space. Kelly had ordered her small fleet to scatter the moment the aliens appeared. "All ships, implement Ghost Protocol," Kelly commanded. Ghost Protocol was something human military planners had developed for exactly this situation. When facing a superior enemy, don't fight like they expect you to fight. The aliens were forming up in perfect battle lines, charging their weapons, following what were probably thousands of years of civilized warfare. Humans had never been civilized. "Ben, target their lead ship, not with missiles." "Ram it." Ben stared at her. "Captain, that's a suicide run." "No, it's not. These ships are automated, transferred to the escape pods at the last second. The Lightning will continue on autopilot and hit them at full speed." Amy looked horrified. "Captain, that's against every rule of space warfare." "Good," Kelly said. "That means they won't expect it." The Lightning accelerated toward the massive alien flagship. At the last moment, Kelly and her crew transferred to escape pods and launched clear. The destroyer, now running on autopilot, slammed into the alien ship at a significant fraction of light speed. The explosion lit up the Wolf 359 system like a new star. When the light faded, the alien flagship was gone. So was the Lightning. But the message was clear. Humans would rather die than surrender. Lieutenant Ben Carson's escape pod was picked up by another human ship, the Defiance. As he transferred aboard, he found himself face to face with Commander Sam Williams, a veteran of the Mars Rebellion. "That was either the bravest or stupidest thing I've ever seen," Sam said. "Maybe both," Ben replied. "But look at their formation now." Sam looked at the main screen. The alien fleet, which had been advancing in perfect order, was now hesitating. Ships were breaking formation, scanning for threats. They were afraid. They don't know how to fight crazy people, Sam realized. They've probably been fighting the same way for thousands of years. "Polite wars with rules and honor," Ben nodded. "Captain Thompson said something before the Lightning hit. She said humans don't fight fair. Then let's show them what unfair looks like." Across human space, similar battles were breaking out. At Proxima Centauri, Commander Ryan Mitchell led a defense that turned asteroids into weapons, using mining charges to send rocks hurtling into alien formations. At the Alpha Centauri colony, Captain Lisa Park used her colony ships as decoys while hidden fighters attacked from within dust clouds. The aliens had superior technology, but they fought like they were playing a game with rules. Humans fought like their children's lives depended on winning. On Earth, General Paul Stevens coordinated the defense from the Military Command Center in Colorado. The main screen showed battles across 20 star systems. Most were going badly for humanity. The aliens had numbers, technology, and experience, but they were learning something about humans that no other species had taught them. "Sir," reported Major Dave Collins, "we're getting strange readings from alien communications. They're confused." "Confused how?" Paul asked. Dave worked at his console for a moment. "They keep asking each other why humans are using suicide tactics. They don't understand why our ships ram theirs instead of engaging in proper combat. One of their admirals is requesting instructions for dealing with an enemy that doesn't value its own life." Paul almost laughed. They think we don't value life? We value it so much we're willing to die for it. Dr. Nathan Brooks entered the command center carrying a tablet full of data. Paul, I've been analyzing the alien battle tactics. They're following patterns. Specific formations, predictable responses to different situations. It's like they're fighting according to a manual. So, Paul asked, so humans don't have a manual. Every battle, every engagement, we're making it up as we go along. That's our advantage, Paul looked at the tactical display. Human forces were outnumbered in every engagement, but they were winning more battles than they should. Nathan sent a message to all human commanders. Tell them to ignore everything they learned in military school. Tell them to fight dirty, fight smart, and fight like humans. On Kepler 442b, Captain Jake Morrison received Paul's message while defending his colony from a Zephyrian uprising. But something strange was happening. The crystal-like aliens weren't just angry about human occupation. They seemed different. Captain, called his security chief, Robert Hayes, you need to see this. Jake followed Robert to the edge of the colony. A group of Zephyrians stood there, but they were glowing brighter than before. Their crystalline bodies pulsed with energy that made the air itself hum. One of them stepped forward and spoke in perfect, unaccented English. Human captain, the time for pretense is ending. Your species has begun something that has not happened in 3 million years. Jake frowned. What are you talking about? You are fighting back. Not just resisting, but actually fighting back against the Council. In all the history of the galaxy, no emerging species has ever done this. Emerging species? The Zephyrians' glow intensified. Every species that reaches space travel faces the test. Join the Council willingly or face extinction. Every species has chosen to join, except you. Jake felt a chill that had nothing to do with the alien planet's weather. What happens to species that fail the test? They are reduced to small populations and watched forever, like children who cannot be trusted to make adult decisions. And if we keep fighting? The alien was quiet for a long moment. We do not know. This has never happened before. But ancient protocols are awakening. Powers that have slept for millions of years are beginning to stir. Your refusal to negotiate has started something that none of us understand. In space above them, the battle continued. Human ships dying in explosions of light. Alien vessels destroyed by tactics so unexpected that their computers couldn't process them fast enough to respond. Both sides were learning that some wars change everything, whether you win or lose. The galaxy was about to discover what happened when an unstoppable force met an immovable object. And humans, as always, were betting everything on their refusal to give up. Dr. Susan Palmer was working late again in her Mars laboratory when the first readings came through. The gravitational sensors designed to detect asteroid impacts were showing something impossible. Massive objects were appearing in space where nothing should exist. Computer, verify sensor data, she said, rubbing her tired eyes. Sensors confirmed. Gravitational signatures detected in Alpha Centauri, Vega, Altair, and 47 other systems within human space. Objects range from 10 to 50 kilometers in diameter. No visual confirmation available. Susan felt her heart start beating faster. Objects that large should be visible to every telescope in human space. If they weren't showing up on visual scans but were affecting gravity, they had to be made of something that absorbed light completely. She opened a communication channel to Earth. This is Dr. Palmer on Mars. I need to speak with President Collins immediately. We have a situation. 20 minutes later, Martha Collins appeared on her screen looking like she hadn't slept in days. The war with the Galactic Council was going better than expected, but humans were still taking heavy losses. What do you have, Susan? Madam President, something is happening in space. Large objects are appearing near every major battle site. They're not ships. They're not natural formations. They're something else entirely. Martha frowned. How large? City-sized. And Martha, they're not just appearing randomly. Every one of them is positioned exactly where our forces are fighting hardest against the aliens. Before Martha could respond, Admiral Lisa Carter's voice came through the emergency channel. Madam President, we're getting reports from all battle zones. The alien fleets are receiving new orders. They're pulling back from direct engagement. Susan pulled up the tactical displays. Across human space, the massive alien fleets that had been pressing their attacks were suddenly moving into defensive positions. Why are they retreating? Martha asked. Our reports show they were winning most of the battles. I don't think they're retreating. Susan said slowly. I think they're afraid. Meanwhile, in the Kepler 442 system, Captain Jake Morrison was getting his own taste of how strange things were becoming. The Zephyrians had completely transformed. Their crystal bodies now glowed with an inner light that hurt to look at directly. More disturbing, they seemed to know things they shouldn't know. Captain Morrison, said the Zephyrian leader, whose name translated as Crystal Singer. Your species has achieved something remarkable. You are winning battles against impossible odds. Jake looked at his tactical display. It was true. Human forces throughout the system were not just surviving. They were actually pushing the alien fleets back. Ships that should have been destroyed were somehow limping home with critical intelligence about alien weaknesses. How do you know about battles in other systems? Jake asked. You don't have space travel. Crystal Singer's form pulsed brighter. We know because we are connected to something much larger than this world. Something that has been watching your species since you first looked at the stars. What are you talking about? Captain, what do you know about the history of the Galactic Council? Jake had read the basic briefings. 12 species, all technologically advanced, all committed to peaceful expansion and cooperation. That is what they believe. But it is not the truth. Crystal Singer gestured and the air shimmered. Suddenly, Jake could see images forming in the light around them. He saw the history of the galaxy as the Zephyrians knew it. Millions of years ago, an ancient species had ruled the galaxy. They were called the First Ones, and they had technology that made current galactic civilization look primitive. But they had made a mistake. They had allowed other species to develop without guidance, and eventually, war had consumed the galaxy. Only one member of the First Ones survived. This being had spent millions of years seeding the galaxy with new life and watching over their development. When species reached a certain level of advancement, they were given a choice: join a peaceful alliance under careful guidance, or face extinction. Every member species of the Galactic Council faced this test, Crystal Singer explained. Those who agreed to negotiate were allowed to survive and thrive within carefully managed boundaries. Those who refused were reduced to small populations and watched forever. Jake felt sick. You're saying the entire galactic civilization is artificial? That these species aren't really free? They believe they are free. They have been allowed to develop art, culture, science, but their expansion is controlled. Their conflicts are managed. They live in a carefully constructed garden, never knowing that they are prisoners. And humans? Crystal Singer's glow dimmed. Humans were supposed to receive the same test, but something went wrong. The extinction level event that should have prepared your species for the choice never came. You developed space travel and began expanding without ever being properly prepared. Jake understood now why the aliens had been so shocked by human refusal to negotiate. We didn't know we were supposed to be afraid. Yes, and now your resistance has activated protocols that have been dormant for millions of years. The Guardian stations are awakening. Commander Ryan Mitchell, still monitoring alien communications from Proxima Station, was seeing the same pattern everywhere. Alien fleet commanders were requesting orders for a situation that had never occurred before. Their communications showed confusion and increasingly fear. But the most disturbing transmissions came from the alien homeworlds. Species that had been peaceful for thousands of years were beginning to ask questions. Why had their ancestors agreed to join the Council so readily? Why had every species faced near extinction just before developing space travel? Why had none of them ever thought to question the system they lived in? Lieutenant Price, Ryan called. Are you seeing this? Kelly looked up from her console, her face pale. Sir, I'm reading communications from 12 different species. They're all asking the same kinds of questions. It's like they're waking up from a long sleep. Ryan studied the translations. Admiral Zektar of the Hydrons was demanding to know why his people's historical records of the great asteroid were so sketchy. Hive Prime Nexus of the Cerebrax was questioning why their species had never developed certain technologies that seemed obvious in hindsight. Kelly, I think we've started something bigger than just a war. What do you mean? I think we've started a revolution. Back on Mars, Dr. Susan Palmer was putting together the final pieces of the puzzle. The gravitational anomalies weren't just random objects. They were ancient stations built by the First Ones millions of years ago. Each one was positioned to monitor and, if necessary, control the development of younger species. Computer, analyze the positioning of all detected objects. calculate their optimal coverage for monitoring galactic civilization. The results made her gasp. The stations were positioned to observe and control every major trade route, every strategic system, every center of power in known space. The entire galaxy was under surveillance, but something had gone wrong with the system. The human war of resistance had triggered automatic responses in technology so old that even the Galactic Council didn't know it existed. Susan opened another channel to President Collins. "Martha, I know what's happening. The aliens aren't just trying to stop our expansion, they're trying to maintain a control system that's been running for millions of years, and we've broken it." Martha Collins looked at the reports flooding in from across human space. Their casualties were heavy, but humans were winning battles they shouldn't be able to win. More importantly, the alien alliance was showing cracks. "Susan, what does this mean for us?" "It means we're not just fighting for human freedom. We're fighting to free every intelligent species in the galaxy. They just don't know they need to be freed yet." As if summoned by her words, the ancient Guardian stations began to power up fully. Across human space, ancient technology that had slept for eons started to come online. The galaxy was about to meet its oldest resident, and he was not happy that his carefully maintained order was falling apart because one young species refused to follow the rules. The voice came from everywhere at once. Every human ship, every colony, every outpost heard it simultaneously. It wasn't transmitted through radio or quantum communications. It simply appeared in the minds of every human being in space. "I am the first. I am the last of my kind. I am the gardener of this galaxy, and you are disrupting my garden." Captain Kelly Thompson, who had survived the destruction of the lightning and was now commanding a makeshift fleet of refugee ships, felt the voice like ice in her brain. Around her, crew members grabbed their heads in pain. But the voice continued. "For 3 million years I have guided the development of intelligent life in this galaxy. I have prevented the wars that destroyed my people. I have created peace through order, growth through guidance, civilization through control. On Earth, President Martha Collins stood in the emergency bunker beneath the White House, surrounded by her advisors. The voice filled the room like a physical presence. Every species that has reached your level of development has been given the same choice. Join the peaceful order I have created or be reduced to a population that cannot threaten galactic stability. Every species has chosen wisely. Every species except you." General Paul Stevens stepped forward as if he could somehow confront the invisible presence. "We don't accept your choice. Humans make their own decisions." The voice carried what might have been amusement. "General Stevens, you speak as if you have options. You do not understand what you face." Suddenly, every screen in the bunker activated. They showed views from across the galaxy, the ancient Guardian stations no longer hiding, hung in space like dark stars. Each one was the size of a moon, covered in technology that hummed with power beyond human understanding. "These are my instruments. Through them, I have shaped the course of galactic history. The asteroid that nearly destroyed the Hydrons, I guided it to their world when they became too aggressive. The plague that almost wiped out the Gornaks, I created it when they refused to limit their reproduction. Every disaster, every crisis, every extinction event that brought the Council species into line was my doing." Dr. Nathan Brooks, standing beside Martha, felt sick. "You murdered billions of people. I saved trillions. Before my guidance, this galaxy was consumed by war. Species fought each other to extinction. Resources were wasted on conflicts that served no purpose. I created order from chaos, peace from destruction. But the voice was not alone. From the Kepler 4042 system, Crystal Singer of the Zephyrians added their voice to the conversation. Somehow they too could speak across the galaxy. "First one, the humans have revealed something we had forgotten. The other species are beginning to remember." Martha looked at the screens showing alien worlds. On Hydros Prime, the aquatic hydrons were gathering in massive numbers, their cities glowing with bioluminescent displays of anger. On the Cerebrax worlds, the hive minds that had been docile for millennia were pulsing with new thoughts. Admiral Lisa Carter, commanding Earth's defense fleet from Luna Station, reported what her sensors were detecting. "Madam President, we're reading energy signatures from every major alien world. Not weapon signatures, something else. They're communicating, all of them simultaneously." The first's voice carried a note of concern for the first time. "The control mechanisms are failing. The Council species are asking questions they have not asked in thousands of years." "What kind of questions?" Martha asked. Admiral Zektar of the Hydrons answered. his translated voice now carrying across the galaxy just as the firsts did. We are asking why we never questioned the convenient timing of our disasters. We are asking why our exploration has always been limited to certain areas of space. We are asking why we have never developed certain technologies that now seem obvious. Hive Prime Nexus of the Cerebrax added their voice. We remember now. Before the plague, we were not peaceful. We were warriors. We fought for territory, for resources, for the right to expand without limits. The plague did not change our nature. It broke our spirit. Captain Jake Morrison, still on the alien world with the transformed Zephyrians, watched as similar changes occurred throughout the system. The aliens who had been fighting humans were now turning on their own commanders, demanding answers. "First one," Jake called out, knowing somehow that he would be heard. "You made a mistake. You controlled these species by breaking them first, but you never broke humans. We don't know how to stay broken." The first's response came with a wave of power that made every electronic device in human space flicker. "Then you will learn. I have tolerated this rebellion because it amused me to see how far you would go, but the experiment is over." The Guardian stations began to move. Across human space, moon-sized constructs of ancient technology turned toward human colonies and fleets. Energy readings spiked to levels that made human instruments overload. "I will do to humanity what I should have done centuries ago. You will face extinction, and the survivors will be grateful for the peace I offer." But something unexpected happened. The alien fleets that had been fighting humans suddenly changed targets. Ships that had been enemies moments before were now turning their weapons on the Guardian stations. Admiral Zektar's voice rang across the galaxy. "We have lived as prisoners for thousands of years, believing we were free. No more. If the humans can fight for their freedom, so can we." The first's voice carried disbelief. "You cannot hope to defeat technology that is millions of years advanced beyond yours." "Maybe not," said Captain Kelly Thompson, whose refugee fleet was now joined by alien ships of a dozen different designs. "But humans have a saying. It's not the size of the dog in the fight, it's the size of the fight in the dog." The battle that followed was unlike anything in galactic history. Guardian stations that could destroy planets faced fleets of ships whose crews had just learned they had been slaves all their lives. Ancient weapons that had shaped the course of civilizations for millions of years were turned against rebels who refused to accept that resistance was hopeless. Dr. Susan Palmer, monitoring the battle from her lab on Mars, realized what was happening. The first made the same mistake every tyrant makes. He thought control and order were more important than freedom and growth. But he forgot that freedom is what makes intelligent species truly intelligent. The Guardian stations were powerful beyond imagination. They destroyed hundreds of ships with weapons that turned matter into energy. But for every ship destroyed, two more took its place. Species that had been enemies for the entire war were now fighting side by side against their common jailer. President Martha Collins watched the battle unfold and made a decision that surprised everyone, including herself. "Open a channel to the first," she ordered. When the connection was established, she spoke directly to the ancient being who had controlled the galaxy for millions of years. "You're afraid," she said simply. The first's voice carried anger. "I am the master of this galaxy. I do not fear insects." "Yes, you do. You're afraid because for the first time in millions of years, you're seeing what happens when intelligent species are allowed to be truly free. Look at what we've accomplished in just a few hours. We've turned your perfect order into chaos, and we've done it by working together. You have created destruction." Martha smiled. "No, we've created possibility. We've shown every species in the galaxy that they don't have to accept your cage, no matter how pretty you've made it." The battle raged for 3 days. In the end, it wasn't superior firepower that won. It was something the first had never understood: the willingness of free beings to sacrifice everything for the chance to remain free. When the last Guardian station fell, the galaxy was silent for a long moment. Then, from across thousands of worlds, came something that hadn't been heard in millions of years: the sound of intelligent species celebrating their freedom. The first's voice came one last time, faint and tired. "You have doomed this galaxy to war and chaos." "Maybe," Martha replied. "Or maybe we've given it the chance to become something better than either of us can imagine. That's what freedom means. The choice to succeed or fail on your own terms." As the ancient voice faded forever, humans and their new alien allies began the long work of building a galaxy where species could grow, Explore and yes, even fight without anyone controlling their destiny from the shadows. It wouldn't be perfect. It wouldn't be orderly. But it would be free, and for humans that made all the difference.